Out today looking for some more of those early black morels. In an area where some people were cutting some wood over the year, and too far to haul it back. We're about 600 yards away from the trail. That's quite the haul. I don't blame them for leaving it, but they probably shouldn't have cut it. The morels don't mind. I love this area. It's got some nice morels growing in it. These ash trees here, the ones cut up, are the hosts. Don't know if they're going to be here for much longer, but I'm sure they'll move on. These ones here that we're looking at still need to grow. They can grow a lot taller. They're moist, cold to the touch. Still light in color. We're still early in the season, but I'm out here just having a fun look around, hunting these guys down. I'll be quiet for a minute and we can just tiptoe around and see what might be up ahead. I like to go slow and quiet when I'm in an area where I know there's morels. And when I'm not in an area and I'm just searching for areas, I don't really search for morels. I search for areas of morels. When I'm searching for those areas, I'll walk quickly and try to move through the woods. But this particular area is kind of like a little bucket, and that hill's usually got a lot of morels on it and down throughout. So let's have a look around. Well, I'm not seeing any more in this particular small area. It is the ash that was hosting them, and the ash is now dead, but they're still here. There are small ash and small beech growing. The greens are just popping out. We got some ramps over there, and the leaf buds are not grown yet. That's why we have early blacks. There'll be no blondes or grays, no thick foots, no half freeze, none of those until these leaves emerge, until these blacks are big. There's several different kinds of blacks that'll show up, but these early blacks all share a kind of common silhouette and color growth pattern. They're typically 2 weeks earlier than everything else. I've seen that duration go a little different, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. But I'm gonna go to a different area, much different than this one. This is what I would call a common morel area. You got ramps and other mushrooms and ash and oak and beech and maple and birch. We got the paper birch. Over by the water, there's a little bit of the black birch. Poplars. It's a pretty mixed woods here, and it's all clay with sand and rocks, and not too much healthy dirt, only a thin layer on top that kind of rolls around and washes down into the boggy areas. But the people that come through this area have been coming here and picking for 30, 40 years, maybe longer. Okay, today we're in a little poplar stand. I'm just a little bit down from where I was earlier. It's a new growth, maybe 25 years, 30, 15, I don't really know. That's an ash, it's dead. Most of these are poplars though. It's a dead poplar. They break off. You don't want to be in a poplar stand like this on a windy day. They're one of the few trees that just kind of lose their heads. You'll see the tops just snap right off. But it's a good place to find early blacks. I think it's the heavy leaf litter and the roots. They're warmer. You'll see they just pop up everywhere. This one's got a bit of a reddish color to it. Nice looking mushroom, but I'll leave it. I do believe there's a guy that picks this patch, and he'll probably be happy if I leave all the mushrooms here. So we'll continue on. I've got a feeling there should be a lot more here. There wasn't in the last area. There's only one way to find out, and that's creep around. Two different ways I look. I look close, kind of scanning the ground. I'm sorry about the blurry image. And I also look far. And sometimes I'll see them far. I'll see them sometimes like real far. Yeah, maybe not with this camera, but it is possible just to stand there and pick them out from the distance. But this time of the year, they're pretty small, so I'm going to stick to close, looking in my immediate circle, maybe 10 feet. Deer droppings. Okay, well, I didn't see another one. Back there was the first one I saw, so I'm going to pick up the pace and kind of move a little quicker, but try to be silent and do a lot of scanning, a lot of circles, but not getting lost. I find you do too many circles in the woods on an overcast day and you'll get turned around. Definitely recommend bringing all the gear that's necessary for mushroom hunting. I start with a nice pair of glasses. I don't know how many times I've poked my eye. It's hard to find a mushroom with a blurry poked eye. Sometimes two. Next is having water, backpack. I use paper bags for the mushrooms, onion sacks. Those are Those are for people that don't understand the mushrooms well. They say they drop spores, and I suppose if you're picking them while they're drying out, they'll drop spores. But you're picking mushrooms, if they're fresh, they're not going to be dropping spores. An onion bag will just tear them up. You want to carefully pack them in small paper bags. I even double up on the paper bags, put one inside of the other to give it a little more integrity before I place them in my backpack. On a good day, I'll bring a couple tote bags, fill up the paper bags. I don't know if it's me talking or just not seeing any in this area. I'll turn off the camera and find a patch. Sometimes if you're looking and not finding them, it's good just to slow down and clear your mind. Thoughts will chase them away. There's a lot of science and mycology and different things you can apply to studying mushrooms, the biodiversity and permaculture, the environment. But you can also take a bit of spiritualism to try to find them. The best technique I've ever used, and that's just you gotta clear your mind and maybe touch the soil and think about the mushrooms, feel the mushrooms, smell them, think about them in your hand, think about collecting them, think about eating them. I used to sell them. Selling them was part of my living and livelihood at the time. So all of that was a lot of thoughts that would help bring them closer to me. But if sometimes you just gotta be out there touching the ground, clearing your head to see them. Oh, there's one. It looks like it got a nip of frost on it. Early in the year you'll see this. I don't know if the camera's picking it up well, but the tip is a little bit burnt, a little dark. I'm gonna pick this one. It'll continue to grow with that burnt tip, but if we get a nice warm day, that'll turn soft and rot. So I'll pick this one and not that one. It'll go good with my leeks and maybe an egg for breakfast. They're out here. Oh, there's another one over there. Get the slow zoom. That was about pointless. Right there. Yeah, these are all part of those poplars. They're all on course this cycle, this season. They're all about the same size, all coming up evenly, which is not what it's been the last few years. Usually it's been patchy. I'm thinking it's gonna be a good year. We're late. We're real late. I feel bad for all the people that plan their Mother's Day weekend. Might not be the peak of the season. Probably be about a week after here in northern Michigan. It's fun picking them. tick season hasn't started. Thank nature for that one. They'll be out soon, full force. That's when you got to start checking yourself. Every hour or two, I suggest do a full body check during tick season. Check your socks and your clothes. Bug spray helps, but I don't like it. It does get on the mushrooms in one way or another. They are very exorbitant. So one thing to watch out for is what containers you place them in, what might be on your hands, perfumes you might be wearing. These will all taint the mushroom. They absorb odors and flavors very quickly. They're a bit of a sponge. They have their own flavor. It's a bitter, earthy, delicious flavor, but it's easily covered, especially by sweet flavors, sweet aromas. Quickly mask a morel. Other gear to bring is a compass, cell phone. Definitely. I've gotten myself, wow, there's a nice one. That's the biggest one of the year. I mean, not particularly, but just the biggest of the year so far. I'll go home into my omelet. Now, I just plucked her out of the ground with a little bit intact. Not always the best way to pick them, but I'm holding the camera. Yep, the cell phone and the compass. Knowing how to use them, making sure they work, making sure they stay dry. Got myself turned around a couple miles deep in the woods. Never had anything bad happen, but I suppose the wrong set of circumstances could leave someone in a real rough situation. The mushrooms tend to compel you to go wildly spinning in circles into the woods. And every year I hear of a lot of people getting lost. Meaning I saw 3 or 4 of them in that area. There's another one. This is probably a localized patch, and I should do my spiral technique around it. I'm going to leave that one. Let these grow. 2 is good for me now. I mean, something like that will triple, quadruple, 10 times as big. This area, not as much, where we don't have a hill. They grow big and tall, where they can get that microclimate of humidity. In these open areas, they'll get frosted and the wind will dry them out quickly. So they don't tend to get as big. I'll show that as the season progresses. Again, I'm just going to begin a spiral around my central location, which is being that big one I picked there, and a couple small ones around that. There we go. They're getting bigger. That's about an inch and a quarter, an inch and a half with the stem. About 5 days. Oh, there's a tiny one. About 5 days for this one. It'd be great to pick. That one just popped out probably 2 days ago, 3 days ago. can go for 2 weeks, even longer. I've seen morels a month old. They get pretty gnarly looking by then, though. There's another tiny one. I need to get out of this area. When I start seeing these little tiny ones everywhere, tells me I probably got morel goo on my shoe. Don't know how many times I come back to an area and I'll see flattened and stepped on ones that continued to grow. Funny, but yeah, this is a heavily populated area. There's another one hiding from me. I don't know if I can even walk out of here without stepping on these little tiny ones. There's an interesting. Always admired these plants early in the spring. Some trilliums about to pop up. Well, I think I walked away from the patch, which is somewhat I intended to do, because as I spiraled around it, there was a lot of mushrooms there. And that's what I came to see. Was there a lot of mushrooms there? And I saw a dozen, so I'm leaving now. Other spots to check. Looking forward to a good harvest this year. Probably be sharing them with the neighbors and generally any old people who enjoy the morels and can't pick them any longer. I don't really give them out to people who are able, but I find the more I give away, the more I find. Nice circle appreciation that goes on between nature and people. The more you give and the less you take. The more you take, the more you give. Something like that.